investigation's one example of some things that have been wrong. Senator Schiff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
On one side, you have Senator Adam Schiff, methodical, calm, and laser-focused on accountability. On the other, John Eisenberg, a former Trump administration attorney and NSC legal advisor, sitting in the hot seat as Schiff questions him about military strike plans, signal chats, and potential breaches of national security.
Mr. Eisenberg, you served during the first administration as a NSC legal advisor. In that capacity, you must have participated in dozens, if not hundreds, of principal meetings organized by the National Security Advisor. Did you conduct any of those meetings by text chat that involved military strike plans?
No, I don't believe so.
So the entire first 4 years of the Trump administration, you never had a text chat conversation about plans to strike targets using an unencrypted or using a commercial app?
Well, I'm not aware of any such incident, yeah.
And you didn't do that because that would have been a terrible national security breach of protocol, would not?
I would have to know a lot more to know whether that would be a breach.
Would you really need to know more than a conversation about military targets, the time of the attack, the location of the targets, the ordnance being used?
Sure, you'd want to know whether the device is up to a certain level so that it could. I mean, you might make one that...
Okay, we're talking about a commercial app like Signal. Would it ever be appropriate to discuss imminent plans to strike military targets on a commercial app?
I still think it's very difficult to answer that question in the abstract. I mean, I can think of circumstances in which you could, sure.
Oh, well, give us a circumstance in which you can talk about an imminent military attack unknown to the public, where it would be appropriate to do so on a commercial app.
Okay, something absolutely urgent happens and needs to go right now, and your normal communication systems don't work. I mean, there's an example where you may have to do something like that.
And where you have access to classified facilities, it would be completely inappropriate, wouldn't it?
I still need to know more.
Really? Wow. And you want to lead the National Security Department at the DOJ, and you would need to know more?
Yes, Senator, I'd like to lead the NSD, and I think I'm exceptionally qualified to do so.
And do you fail to believe the NSA and the DOD when they say that the use of commercial apps like Signal is a security threat and inappropriate for confidential or sensitive data?
I haven't heard what either of those entities has said.
So you don't have any idea what the view of the intelligence community is about the use of commercial apps to conduct government business involving classified or sensitive national security information? You have no idea what the position is?
No, I'm sure the position is that in general that should never happen.
Okay, so what happened in this Signal chat should never have happened. Do you agree with that?
No, as I said before, I would need to know more.
Have you read the Signal chat?
I have not yet.
Yeah, you have not read it. Are you desiring to be willfully blind to what just happened?
No, I was trying to prepare for this hearing, among other things.
Oh, and you didn't anticipate you'd be asked about this? Or is it because you anticipated you would be asked about this, you didn't want to inform yourself of this incredible breach of national security?
There are millions of things going on in the world at any given time. So I just didn't happen to learn about this one.
Oh, I see. There are millions of things going on. Yes, I'm sure there are millions of things going on in the world. But this happens to be probably the biggest national security story of the month, which included a lot of other national security stories, including a war in the Middle East and including capitulation to Putin and Russia. But you just happened to neglect to read this one. Is that what we're led to believe?
I just happened not to read it, that's all.
Well, let me ask you this. If you're using a commercial app to discuss the identity of targets, their locations, and that information were to become public, it could compromise those operations, couldn't it?
It depends on what the operation is and where in the operation.
Well, let's say an operation to strike targets in Yemen, Houthi targets that identify, say, a top missile operative and the location of the girlfriend's building. Those kind of specific details discussed on a commercial app could jeopardize that operation if it became public.
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
It depends on the circumstances. And
Well,
that's
I just gave you the
And that's why I'm not going to answer a hypothetical question.
Well, it's not hypothetical. I wish to hell it were hypothetical. This just happened. This was shared with a journalist on a commercial app. You need more information than that? Well, how about discussing denigrating our European allies on a commercial app? Could that have diplomatic fallout?
I don't know the circumstances.
Really? So the vice president's conversations on this app, others joining in and disparaging Europe, this is completely new information to you. You're unaware. You can't comment on whether that could interfere with our relationship with our closest allies?
No, I heard of the incident. I just at this point hadn't had time to look at it closely.
Yeah.
I'm a lawyer, sir, and before I make decisions and form opinions, I need to look at the facts carefully.
Yeah, and you don't hide from the facts as a lawyer. And if you want to head the National Security Division at the Department of Justice, you don't stick your head in the sand when we've had a serious breach of our national security so that you don't have to answer uncomfortable questions.
That's
Mr.
not
Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do find it interesting that my Democrat colleagues are so enraged by this non-story and had nothing to say when we had a president who literally...
Here's the thing. What Schiff exposes in this hearing is far bigger than a single signal chat or one former lawyer's evasive answers. This isn't just about an isolated lapse in judgment. It's about the culture that allows lapses to happen in the first place. It's about a system where accountability is optional, where I need more information can replace clear judgment, and where the stakes, people's lives, national security, and global operations, are treated almost like an afterthought. When you sit in a room that controls the fate of military operations, you don't get to hedge. You don't get to offer hypotheticals while the real world unfolds. The targets are real. The timelines are real. The consequences of mistakes are real. And the public, and more importantly, the troops and allies on the ground, deserve leaders who act with precision, clarity, and responsibility. What we see in Eisenberg's responses isn't just hesitation. It's a failure to internalize the magnitude of the role he wants to assume. He repeatedly skirts definitive answers, even on questions that, in any other context, would have a clear yes or no answer. And when pressed about the signal chats, documents that were already public, already known, and already potentially compromising, he admits to not having read them. He offers millions of things going on in the world as an excuse. That's not oversight. That's negligence disguised as preparation. Schiff, on the other hand, demonstrates exactly how these hearings should function. He's asking the questions that matter, cutting through vague language, and holding people accountable for real-world decisions. He's not asking to score points politically. He's asking a simple, essential question. Can the people we entrust with national security make decisions that keep us safe? And the answer, at least based on this exchange, is deeply concerning. Because national security isn't theoretical. It isn't about what could happen under ideal circumstances. It's about what does happen in the messy, dangerous, unpredictable world we live in. And when leaders treat protocols and guidelines as optional or negotiable, the risks are enormous. This is a moment that should alarm everyone, regardless of party affiliation. Because the implications of mishandling classified information or discussing strike plans on commercial apps are not confined to congressional hearings. They ripple across the battlefield, across diplomatic negotiations, and across the lives of people who have no voice in these decisions. One misstep, one moment of evasiveness, one failure to act responsibly can have consequences that last far longer than a single administration. In the end, this exchange is a reminder that national security depends not just on intelligence, not just on technology, not just on protocols, but on the judgment, accountability, and integrity of the people in charge. And when that is missing or treated as optional, we all pay the price. So ask yourself, in a world where classified information, military targets, and lives are on the line, is "I need more information" ever an acceptable answer? And if the people tasked with protecting us can't make that call clearly and decisively, what does that say about the system meant to keep us safe? This hearing may have ended, but the questions it raises are far from over, and we all need to be paying attention. As always, thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, hit that like button, subscribe for more content like this, and we'll see you next time.